In my last video, I complained about the fact that there were so many consultations that it was practically impossible for any normal person to comprehend everything that the GCP are trying to do. And that is certainly true, and not being a normal person myself, I decided I would give it a go to actually try to comprehend all of these different projects. So if you have a look at the GCP website, up here at the top, you can see it says consultations. You click on that and you get taken to the page with all the consultations on it. And so I've just spent the last day just going through all of these and sorting them out and trying to understand roughly what each one is trying to do. So I thought that it would be a good idea to put all of these together on a map so that you can actually start to see the full scale and to really truly comprehend the actual beast that the GCP are trying to deal with here. And this is really the only way to do it. When I'm into something and I want to research it and I'm trying to understand it, I've got to keep going and keep going and keep going until I can more or less conceive of it on one piece of paper. And so that's what I've done today. So the whole plan overview is made up of quite a few subsections of the overall scheme. I call them sub-schemes, and they make up the overall scheme. Now, the types of scheme that we have here are busways. There's three. One crossing Coton, one Sawston, one Waterbeach. There's greenways, of which there are multitudes, and I'm not focusing too heavily on them in this video because I had to draw the line somewhere. You got parking restriction trial areas. You got transport strategies for the wider districts, e.g. Huntingdonshire and Fenland. You got junction upgrades and road improvements, for example, what they're doing on Milton Road and Newmarket Road. They've got plans for a new road classification, a hierarchy of roads, a three-tier system of roads based on importance and necessity of use. You have the closure of the Mill Road Bridge, travel hubs at Foxton, Scotland Farm and Oakington, and one near Babram. You have an autonomous shuttle bus trial, driverless buses being tried out. Installation of cycle park at Queen Anne's. A solar farm in Soham, battery storage for the same solar farm, enhanced and upgraded train solution platform crossing at Whittlesford, increased parking at Trumpington Park and Ride, and, of course, the thing tying all of this together is the congestion charge, aka the sustainable travel zone. Now, each of these I want to deal with, not each of these, but there are certain ones of these I'm going to go into in more depth in another video. For example, in particular, this C2C Camborne to Cambridge busway. Not included in these from just the GCP, you also have got the all the various experimental traffic regulations orders, which can be found listed on the council's website. For example, road closure trials, for example, Vinery Road, which has actually closed its consultation, blocking off through traffic. You have one near Church Street. They call them active travel measures. I call them roadblocks. They also can be known as low traffic neighbourhoods, which have been discussed in other parts of the country. It is also the council who are running the electric scooter trial. It's quite a lot, frankly, to take on board, almost too much. In fact, most people, including the councillors themselves, don't actually know, I think, the full extent of everything which is in the pipeline or ongoing at the moment. All of these works do not include, and we should be minded to include if we want to see the full picture, the various land development projects which are being undertaken or in planning stages by the council's subsidiary company, This Land, who are technically a private company owned 100% by the council, who buy land or develop land or market out for development. And at the moment on their website, they're showing 10 different developments ongoing. These are all housing development projects which are being undertaken by a subsidiary of the council. So that's included in part of the GCP's plans because the council are the GCP. And then also we should be minded to include the Eddington development, phase 2 of which is setting up to start. Phase 1 has already taken place, as some of you may have driven through it. I would call it Marmite. Some love it and some hate it, but I don't even think that it's that. I don't think anybody loves it. I think a lot of people hate it, and I think that most other people are just baffled and perplexed as they get lost in the thing, because the road layout makes no sense whatsoever, and the whole thing is made up of grey-brown bricks and all looks exactly the same, so it's very easy to get lost in there. Anyway, so you've got Eddington Phase 1 has already been complete, and Eddington Phase 2 is supposed to be put up here. All housing, mixture of student housing, staff housing, and private residents that are going to be sold on the market. And all of these, which I've managed to collate in here in this one package, is not exhaustive. It cannot be an exhaustive list. There must be lots that I've missed off here, and there must be lots which are going on by third-party developers which have been contracted by the council. So they're not on the lists which I've seen, and they're not on this map here. So this is only still a patchy, vague overview. It's not totally exhaustive. Like, for example, what the hell happened to the Flying Pig? That closed 2 years ago and is still sitting there boarded up. That was supposed to be developed, and that one's all, been put on hold for whatever reason. So, there are lots of projects all around the place which are like that. Anyway, we don't need to go into that. We can look at that in another video. So, this is really the only way to get the full view of what is being planned for Cambridge. So, you've got the 3 busways, one from Waterbeach, one from Babram up through Sawston and Great Shelford, and one from Camborne through past Madingley Road, bulldozing straight through the Coton Orchard, and they're linking up into Grange Road. And those also will involve travel hubs. You've got a travel hub here. A travel hub is essentially a glorified or extended sort of park and ride, an area which I suppose the thinking is that people can drive to it, park their car, jump on a train or a bus, similar to a park and ride but just on a wider scale. There's going to be one of those here in Babram, one in Foxton, one up here on Scotland Farms, one in Oakington. I think that's it. They're going to expand the park and ride capacity at Trumpington. Then you've got this nightmare scenario. I'm not looking forward to this one at all. This is the expansion or the improvement of Newmarket Road, which is going to look like this. So you see they want to basically redesign this whole intersection here between East Road and Elizabeth Way and Newmarket Road. And then they're going to expand the whole of the stretch all the way up to, all the way to the outskirts of the town, basically, past the airfield. And it will look like this once it's finished. And I think that you can see a working model of it on Hills Road. So they've got 2 lanes in the middle for cars, a bus lane either side, and then a cycle track, and then a footway on either side. It's fine, it works. But, it's going to be a big project, another big project. Just look at what it's like on Milton Road at the moment. They're also proposing another park and ride up on that end of town. Also, like I said, not included on this map are any of the greenways. I just didn't think there was any point in going that far into it, because it's been quite a painful process. I don't need to go too deeply into it. You get the idea. Now, these 2 here, trial resident parking areas. This is around the Milton Road area. You have a trial of resident parking only, and the same thing down here around the York area. Now, these are trials, specifically meaning that they're trying them out, and then they're going to be extended around the rest of the town as well. So all of these residential areas around here eventually over the next few years are going to become resident parking only. Permit holders, residents have to pay for their permits, as we've seen in their proposals. And this is a cycle path improvement on Cherry Hinton Road over by the Leisure Centre. What else? Oh yeah, Milton Road is currently underway at the moment. We all already know about that one. Quite extensive reworks there. Here is the Eddington Phase 2, and here is called Adava Park between Warts Causeway and Baben Road. That's being undertaken by This Land, the subsidiary of Cambridge County Council. Oh yeah, Whittlesford Parkway train station is going to be revamped and overhauled, or it's been penned out for development anyway, potential development. There, and then you have all of those, and then all of these obviously are going to be linked up and connected by the linchpin of the whole scheme, the congestion charge zone, which is the controversial, or the one of the more controversial aspects of this already troublesome scheme. So this here is the whole scheme, and you can see from this, really, you can start to comprehend the kind of the scale of everything which is going on. Of course, I haven't mentioned, sorry, I forgot to mention, we've got the closure of Mill Road Bridge just here. Just mark it with a big bloody X. No longer allowed to go down there. And also Vinery Road is closed, and there's some other closures which I mentioned before. Alright, so there, has anybody been presented with that idea, and has anybody been told this is what we are trying to do, or this is what we are going to do? And is there any wonder why people are getting upset by the manner of the GCP's performance, in the way that they've cut all of this up into multiple subsections of the whole scheme, each one requiring lots and lots of concentration, energy and thought, much of which energy most people don't have time to give. You can't comprehend most of these schemes. You know, I did this so that you don't have to. I don't think anybody has really gone through and sat down and actually studied every one of these. Even though I haven't studied them in depth, I've done a few of them in depth, and we'll go into some more of the important ones in another video. But like the inconsistencies and the obfuscation, you know, the covering up, the glossing over of the more grisly details, and just saying this will be good for the environment, or this will be good for people's health, or this will be good for social well-being and things. Those are just wishy-washy statements that don't mean anything. When you actually start to delve into the details of all of these plans, then you start to really see what's happening. Now, what to make of all of this? Now, thankfully, I don't have to tell you what to make of all of this. My job is only to put the information there for you to see, because nobody else has done that. Not even the GCP has done that. What they have skillfully tried to do is to hide the full scale of what it is that they're actually trying to do. And, you know, never mind the fact, as I mentioned or pointed out in my previous video, that councils are not supposed to engage in too many consultations to avoid consultation fatigue. Never mind the fact that they're supposed to be publishing the results of all of their consultations, which they haven't done. And, you know, never mind about the fact that they're not supposed to be consulting on things that they've already decided. And so this, you really get to see, you can start to comprehend what the future of Cambridge is going to look like. So there you have it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I gave you something to think about. If any of you were thinking about going into the looking in depth at the GCP's consultation, they're all here on the website. Although I wouldn't recommend it. It does hurt the head. Anyway, like I said, hopefully you can get something out of it, something useful, to see the full scale of what all of these various little sub-schemes and miniature consultations will all equate to in the end. Have a think about that. Have a talk about that. Talk to your counsellors about that. And, well, I don't know. Have a good night, I guess.